Hello, this is Mark Smith with Family Tree Counseling Associates, and I'm going to be speaking with you today on the subject of the trauma of deception. In June, I arrived at my therapist's office and I found a magazine. I'm going to grab it real quick. And I expressed some interest in reading the magazine. It's Psychology Today, and it was about people who were betrayed, how to survive a manipulator. And in this magazine article in Psychology Today, there was an article called the drama of deception. And I'm going to talk more about trauma simply because that has become a specialty of mine, working with people who have abandonment issues that has caused trauma. Certainly, if you have trauma as well. The journalist who wrote this article, the trauma of deception, her name is Abby Ellin, E-L-L-I-N. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to quote her pretty liberally, and then I'm going to discuss her quotes. So, the trauma of deception is a video about the drama of deception by Abby Ellin, Psychology Today. She writes, as a journalist, which is to say, someone who's curious about everything, I pride myself in my ability to suss out deception. I'd never heard that word before. Suss. S-U-S-S. Has anybody else heard of that word? She susses out deception. She figures it out. She sees it. More than one boyfriend has noted wearily that I'm a magnificent cross-examiner, she writes. But though much of what my ex-fiancé told me seemed highly improbable, nothing was verifiable. Besides, as we've all learned, courtesy of both the movies American Sniper and Zero Dark 30, somebody has to do these things, right? While he seemed an unlikely spy, her former fiancé, what better decoy than an asthmatic, nasal spraying, wielding nerd? So this really bright, talented journalist had a 1-year-long relationship and a fiancé with a man who was a fraud, a liar, a sociopath. She writes, being duped contaminates your entire sense of self. It throws you off kilter and makes you question your perceptions. I myself was a therapist who specialized in working with couples where there was affairs and sexual addiction. And I had received three quarters of the training that Patrick Carnes, the leading expert on sexual addiction, has made available to therapists out there. And in this article, I'll read it in a little bit. It says, if you're an expert in a given field, you're actually more susceptible to being duped. So she writes, Abby Ellin writes, being duped contaminates your entire sense of self. It throws you off kilter. It makes you question your perception. So I know this video isn't for everybody. If you've not been involved with a sociopath or a sex addict or a relationship addict or a compulsive liar or a manipulator or a narcissist, this video probably isn't for you, but there's a lot of us out there. And I want to be able to empathize and connect with those of you out there who've been through this. There's a fine line. I do not believe that people get victimized in relationships. I believe that you pick exactly the right person and you take your medicine. Mother Nature has a desire to heal your unresolved wounds from your childhood. And if you pick a bad actor, then one of your parents was a bad actor, or there was some other kind of abuse in your childhood. Abby writes, like Ingrid Bergman in the movie Gaslight, whose husband has her convinced she's insane, when all along he's deliberately manipulating her. The duped lose faith in their ability to determine what's real and what isn't. I was looking through some emails as I was sorting through what happened with my duping, with my duper. And at one point over a year ago, in an email, I had accused her of cheating and of being unfaithful. And she writes back, let's get clear here. I'm not the cheater. You are. She flipped it around, and nothing could have been further from the truth. But she was so convincing. A sociopath, a compulsive liar, they're really good at lying. And if you needed a false attachment, then you really need to look in depth at your family of origin stuff. My mom was narcissistic. She was a bad actor. She was somebody who everybody loved, but she was too narcissistic to really connect with her children when they were babies and when they were any age, really. It was too much about her and her needs due to her woundedness from her bad acting father. Abby writes, duplicity is rampant. Popular culture is rife with characters who are not what they seem to be. Walter White in Breaking Bad. Those of you who have been watching my videos know that I've been a big Breaking Bad and Walter White fan, and my particular sociopathic partner would love to sit there and watch Breaking Bad with me. We watched it every week. We would never miss it. And she had her dark secret. She had her double life. Don Draper in Mad Men. Those of you who know me and have been following me for years know that I'm a huge Mad Men Donald Draper fan. A wounded counterdependent, a sexual addict, somebody with a false identity. My significant other, my fiance, loved watching Mad Men with me. And then there's Francis Underwood in House of Cards. Great show. Great actor, Kevin Spacey. And then probably the favorite show that my fiance and I would watch through the years was Dexter and Dexter Morgan. And again, in our culture, there's these heroes, these people that are admired, where you pull for them, you like them, even though they have these dastardly secrets, these alter identities. She writes, thanks to Photoshop, the internet, heavily scripted reality television, websites like Ashley Madison for married people seeking affairs, and social media, the lines between fiction and reality have blurred for all of us. I was just watching football this Sunday, and a man named, what's his name, Tio? He plays for San Diego Chargers. He's a defensive back or a safety. And he was catfished over the internet. He had a girlfriend who wasn't a girl, and he didn't know it. That's where the lines of reality blur, and you don't know what's true and what's not true. Ashley Madison, there was controversy here recently where somebody hacked into their site, probably somebody who was cheated on, and they outed everybody who ever was on the site publicly and put it in the newspaper, and there were links. So all across the country, people were confessing to things that they had been doing on this website. But Abby writes, "You're lucky," her friends said afterwards. "You dodged a bullet. You didn't marry him." They were right, of course, but their comments irked me. If I were truly lucky, I would never have met him. Well, excuse me. What I would say is there was no luck involved either way. She didn't marry this man because she finally did walk away. She finally did see his lying. The reason she broke up with him, she wrote in the article, was they were having dinner with her parents, and there was a dish made out of Brussels sprouts that he just raved about and was so glowingly praising of the hosts, the parents, and then finds out later that he hated it. And she said, if he can lie that good, I better get away from this guy. So there was no luck involved. She finally just paid attention to her gut. In my situation, I kept putting this woman out of my home. I put her out of my home 3 times. But if you have that needy little kid inside you, if you have abandonment issues, sometimes your neediness overrides your intellect. Your neediness overrides your sense of reality. And I kept opening myself up to being harmed. The author writes, I was mortified, embarrassed, and humiliated. All told, we were together for a year. But why hadn't I walked out at the first sign of craziness, which, if I were honest, arose the first time that we had dinner? How stupid I was, how gullible, how pathetic. And, I felt those feelings as well, being mortified, embarrassed, humiliated, stupid, gullible, pathetic. But, if you're brought up with a parent who really isn't a full parent and they act like they are, you're just vulnerable. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter if you're a psychologist. It doesn't matter if you're a journalist. It doesn't matter if Walter White's brother-in-law was a great DEA agent. When you have people close to you that you've put a blind eye to, they're the last people you would suspect of behaving in this way. She writes, those who have been lied to castigate themselves about why they didn't suspect what was going on. Psychiatrist Anna Fells has observed in the New York Times. The emotions they feel, while seemingly benign than those of the perpetrator, may in the long run be more corrosive because it's humiliation, embarrassment, a sense of having been naive or blind, alienation from those who knew the truth all along, and worst of all, bitterness. And that's the message I have for all you folks out there who have been involved with serial affair havers or sexual addicts or narcissists or sociopaths is you can't be bitter. Don't be bitter. You did not get victimized. Okay? Of all the people on the planet, why did you fall in love with this person? And how many clues were there along the way? For me, there were a lot of clues along the way. And I'm a pretty smart guy, and I'm trained in therapy, and I've worked with hundreds of couples with this, and I've been trained by the best in the world, but I still missed it. And I give myself a pass because it isn't the smart part of you that makes these decisions. It's the wounded little kid part of you. So give yourself a break. Some psychologists contend that having background information and training can actually contribute to you being deceived. It makes people overconfident. In a 2009 study, researchers at the University of Exeter found that people with excessive knowledge in a specific area are often duped more than those who are less well-versed. People with extensive knowledge on a subject may hold illusions of superiority, explains psychology David Modick, a research associate at King's College in Cambridge, who collaborates closely with his former doctoral advisor in the Exeter group. Modick helped develop a scale to measure scam compliance and susceptibility to persuasion. Such people assume they know so much that they jump too often to the detrimental conclusions about their expertise, as in there's a sense of nobody can make a fool of me. I know too much about this subject. Says Modick, who also co-authored a study on victim mentality and internet fraud. They have no need to fact check. So part of recovery from trauma is being gracious with yourself and forgiving yourself and understanding that, you needed this lesson. Our significant others are our very best teachers. And if you're out there and you've been what feels like taken advantage of by somebody, just know that you picked the right person, and this is all in the grand scheme of things, something that needed to happen. And this is something that can be a blessing for you. The author writes, experts agree intuition is often our very best ally in determining whether or not somebody is lying. But most of us don't follow our guts. We cast aside those niggling doubts, often berating ourselves for being too cynical. The Exeter researchers found that people who fall for scams often suspect something is off. They just ignore it. So, being lied to, being duped, being scammed really is traumatizing. And the first order of business is to understand why it happened. And you'll find those answers in your family of origin. If you've been duped by somebody, go to a therapist and have them search through your family tree. Was there a parent who had affairs or who had secrets? Generally, if there's deception in your family background, you're going to pick somebody who's deceptive, or you're going to become deceptive yourself. And it doesn't have to just be in sexual areas. It could be with money or any kind of family secret. So search around within yourself and within your family background as to why you needed to be hurt in this way. And embrace your pain and cry the tears. I want to direct you to the videos that I've made about trauma recovery and abandonment. I have a video out now that's 70 minutes long that you can purchase and watch online that tells you everything that I know about trauma recovery in this situation. I mean, those same principles would apply if you were in a car wreck or if you were traumatized in a violent attack of some sort. But it mainly focuses in on being in love with somebody and then having your heart ripped out when you find out the person they said they were wasn't at all as, who they really were. That there was a dark secret, there was somebody hiding their real self, and they ripped out your heart. But what I'm finding after 7 months is there is hope, there is healing, there is life afterwards, and I find it to be okay. It's okay. I know for me, I'm going to be fine and I'm going to prosper because nothing can happen in your life that you don't cooperate with. And that's the beautiful thing about Mother Nature is it brings you an opportunity to learn the truth about yourself, to learn the truth about who you're involved with, to learn the truth about your family of origin, and to roll up your sleeves and to get to work, and then to heal. This is all about an opportunity to heal. So if you miss the point and you're railing against the narcissist or the sociopath or the psychopath or the sex addict, then you're missing the point. The point is that you needed this person in your life. And yeah, it hurts. Oh my God, it hurts. I can't tell you how much pain I've been through. But they don't have the power to victimize you. They could only victimize you because you needed to go through this experience. You set it up. You let it happen. You're the one who actually, at least on an unconscious level, had the control in your life. You are responsible for your life. So, again, I want to encourage you. There's a link you can click on this video, at least if you're watching via computer, and it'll take you to more information about healing abandonment trauma wounds in the eye of the tiger. And that's the video that you can watch, and it'll help you get better. It'll help you do everything that you can do to put your life back together, to make sense of your life, to feel better, and to not go through this horrible experience ever again. Thank you for watching today, and God bless.